a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, or an engineer. I could be your mother. Ooh, I can be your sister. Can be a nurse or a judge in the court. I could be a leader, ruling over a nation, all over the world. I am a woman. I'm a strong woman. Do this woman. I'm intelligent and wise. A beautiful woman. This woman. I am a woman. This woman. I'm a strong woman. Do this woman. Magnificent. Today's woman. The spirit of women is calling. And the voice of unity must answer to this woman, to this woman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Hope all is well. It's Thursday evening, conversation time. Hopefully, I can get Mose on next Thursday and we can have a good conversation. But tonight, I started a conversation this morning, just hearing everything. And first, let me start by saying this. In a world over, the countries that want to change their status, the countries that want to be respected, the countries that want to empower their citizens, those countries believe in knowledge. They believe in competition. We believe that competition breeds talent, right? I was talking to you all this morning. And I will end this story this way. First, I will start with this video right here. This is at the United Nations. I'm going to start with William Ruto of Kenya. I'm not fond of him, okay? I think he has some beautiful talk, and it's all talk. We've seen what has happened in Kenya for the past couple of years. We've also seen where some of his ministers are millionaires from working for the government. I just saw the YouTube interview with a young man in who the same one I called Ellen Johnson Sirleaf out. Okay. And some of the people have to call him out. He was wearing a red bottom shoe in a country that is running around and begging everybody else. Okay? But at least he's speaking to the world. Listen to Ruto. Let me get Ruto on here. I don't know which one is him. This is John Mahama. Okay, so it's the second one. So let me get Ruto out here. Did I share this? No. Hopefully I share it. If I did not. Sorry guys. Let me share Ruto's. Okay. And I want us all to Kenya. This is Kenya. Kenya addressing the United Nations. I didn't share. So I'm going to start from 4. And let me explain to you, some of you, especially my audience, will be the United States and Liberia. Okay. Where is my... Okay, we're here. May not get this, all right? They are all chronicling the partitioning of Africa, okay? Or the scramble for Africa at the Berlin table when a bunch of white people came together and decide, okay, we are going to take over. The word that they brought is Christianize, civilize, them. But they were coming for the resources. They were coming not just for the human capital, but for the raw material. Okay, I always told people, if you saw a diamond and you did not know what a diamond is, all you see is a rock, a dirty rock that's being buried in the rubble. Okay, but I want you all to listen to Ruto. Let's listen to Ruto for a second. Which one is Ruto? We're starting from 4. And then I will tell you.
And I quote, "We, the people of the United Nations, determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war," end of quote. Today, we are gathered for the UN at 80. The question is unavoidable. Is the United...
Now, let me say to all of you, we have no copyright to these videos. They're from the United Nations, they're the public video, and we need to share that. I want you all to listen keenly. It's really important. Listen, the reason that the rich, the reason that kings and queens, the reason that royals teach their children history, economy, okay, is for you to understand the future, you must understand the past. You must study the past. And while we're living in a time of mercantilism, right? You need business, you need to understand dollar and cents, or whatever, money for that matter, or exchanges. So you listen. Go ahead, Ruto.
Nations relevant to the demands of our time? Can it continue to serve humanity in the face of current realities? Or has it become a relic of a bygone era? Madam President, Excellencies, we meet against a grim global backdrop. Conflict rages in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, the Sahel, the Horn of Africa, and beyond. Climate disasters grow fiercer by the day. Inequality deepens, pandemics loom, and technological disruptions outpaces governance. Instead of trust, mistrust is spreading. Instead of solidarity, fragmentation is taking root. In place of hope, anxiety fills our global community. We are living, to borrow from the words of the founders of this institution, not in larger freedom, but in growing uncertainty. At this moment of turbulence, when we most need a strong United Nations, the organization faces its deepest crisis in credibility and capacity. Funding cuts have paralyzed its operations. Bureaucracy has slowed its response. The Security Council remains frozen in the post-war structures of 1945, unable to act inclusively, with fairness, and with speed. Ladies and gentlemen, I can, however, state with absolute conviction that the United Nations has been one of humanity's greatest achievements. For 8 decades, it has held back the specter of global war, calmed conflicts from Cambodia to Liberia, and stood guard in some of the world's most dangerous places through the courage of its peacemakers and peacekeepers. Few institutions in humanity's history can claim such a legacy.
I will come back to this video, okay? If you heard him, he came from where the United Nations has done, okay? And guys, you people, all of us, those who study history have the edge of anything for that matter, who have led it, who have benefited. But I wanted to stop to the point where he said spending cuts. Spending cuts to who? The only one that's cut the spending is the United States. And I tell people, literally, the United States is United Nations. They put money into that. So I'm going to move him, and I'm going to bring in John Mahama. Then I'm going to bring Joseph Boakai, and we're going to listen to Joseph Boakai for a moment, okay? And there are a few things I need to analyze. So I'm going to bring in John Mahama, then we're going to take that from there. Here he is. Lord have mercy, Africans.
That's because before all the other talks and meetings, representatives from a group of 14 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development, as well as for economic reform and ecological stability. Africa is a catalyst for systemic change. If this reality, which is fact-based and straightforward, seems provocative or unsettling, perhaps it's because you are viewing it through the lens of centuries of filters, colonialism and imperialism, and the resulting implicit bias. Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of African nations or their remarkable ability to make a strong comeback just when you think it's safe to count them out. That is what is happening right now in my own country, Ghana. Our constitution limits leaders to 2 4-year terms. In January, I was sworn in for a second term, which, let me point out, was non-consecutive with my first term. Our currency, the Ghana cedi, was rapidly depreciating, faced with rising inflation, a huge debt burden, and low morale amongst our citizens. My new administration settled down quickly and embarked on an ambitious program of comprehensive transformation designed to restructure Ghana's economic foundation and enhance our competitive standing globally. We refer to this process of recalibration as our reset agenda. In just 8 months, we have achieved significant reduction in inflation from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in August 2025, restoring price stability for our citizens. Additionally, our currency, the Ghana cedi, has appreciated considerably against other currencies, with Bloomberg reporting it as the best performing currency in the world at one point. Our improved sovereign credit rating reflects increasing investor confidence in our economy. And our 24-hour economy initiative promises to transform our economy. And there's a renewed willingness amongst our people to trust that their elected officials have Ghana's interests at heart and that we're progressing together. Madam President, I believe that in honor of this milestone celebration, the United Nations should also embark on a process of serious recalibration and establish its own reset agenda. Since the organization's founding, the number of UN member nations has nearly quadrupled. And quite frankly, it is not the same world that it was back then when the UN was formed. I mentioned earlier that I began my second non-consecutive term as president this past January. My first term ended in January 2017. In that span of time, 8 years, the world has changed with such ferocity. My first days in office after my return felt as though I had just awakened from a Rip Van Winkle style sleep. Now, no, that was only after 8 years. Imagine then what it will be like after 80 years since the founding of the United Nations. In 1945, the sun had not yet set on the largest empire in history. The most common mode of international travel was by sea. The personal computer had not been invented, let alone made portable. And television, a new convenience, was still in its infancy, albeit in black and white color. Relations between the US and the Soviet Union were turning frosty, with Winston Churchill declaring that an iron curtain has descended across the European continent. Fast track 80 years on, in today's world, hundreds of thousands of commercial flights take off and land every day. Libraries have been digitized so that volumes of literature can exist on a small device, small enough to fit inside your pocket. We live in a world of cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, social media, the internet and its dark hidden dungeon of the dark web, all of which carry a potential threat to global peace and security. Climate change is real, and we're fighting a losing battle against the loss of Maldives and other island nations to the rising sea level, against the loss of Timbuktu to desertification and the Amazon forest to global warming and deforestation. Madam President, the UN Founding Charter is outdated.
So let me stop here with what John Muhammad, okay? Let me stop here right now with John Muhammad. And that's the reason I'm going to stop with him. And I'm going to bring Joseph Boakai on. This man bundled many things. He acknowledged history, where we've been as a nation, where we've been as the world, where we've been as a continent. He said the sun had not set yet on the greatest empire. Remember, even in the Ottoman Empire, people need to remember, we did not live as a nation or as a county or as a country. We lived in tribal and religious group or in ethnic identity. That's how we live. Okay? So we lived together because we understood one another until the colonizer came. Just as they came in the, the Ottoman Empire, that would be Southwest Asia, where you call today the Iraq, the Iran, the Syria, the Saudi Arabia, the Kuwait, the Persian Gulf, whatever you want to call it, the Strait of Hamas, and all of those places right up there. All right, those places. That was one empire. Those were just one empire. It took two men, France and Great Britain, to divide them, to weaken them. Today, even the Kurdish people still don't have a homeland. And they are the largest minority group. So I love the way John Muhammad started the conversation. At least, especially in Africa, most of African nations, I know about Liberia, don't teach this until later. And the world over will teach it to their people the way they want you to understand it. You know how some country, they always win? And you see, let me tell you something. The man who writes the story is the one who the people believe. That's just the way it works. And when you are being conditioned to believe that certain group of people, okay, have always won, they are Congo men, they are Congo this, they are Congo that, okay, they become hero to you. And so I love the way John Muhammad started. He started with, let's take a walk back into history. Where do we come from? Then he tied himself, his country, where we are. He also let us know how much things have changed from 2017 till now, even in his country. And in a year and a half, how much his country has changed in respect to their cities, how they've been featured in the Bloomberg, which is the renowned financial organization, newspaper, news reporting in the United States from Wall Street. He talked about that. He talked about how the inflation rate has dropped. I'm going to leave there, and I'm going to come the contrast to your part. That means the one who coming here again. But I have a lot to say tonight, and I have to say that in 1 hour, so I'm good. So let me bring this to, and the rest of you can go and watch Omer Boaka's story when you're ready. Liberian president addressed the United Nations. I thought I opened this, but I guess I did not. Listen up.
General Assembly, on behalf of the people of Liberia, 8 decades after its founding, in which Liberia was involved, our country is proud that the United Nations remains the most critical multilateral platform for international cooperation and collective action. The UN continues to employ the best framework of humanity for peace, justice, security, dignity, and shared prosperity. Madam President, please accept the congratulations from the delegation to Liberia on your assumption.
So I need you to listen to the contrast. Lord have mercy. You listen to Ruto. You listen to Muhammad, John Mahama. Mahama is the name that the Gandhi was given, like the father of liberation, the father of India per se. Okay, I don't know what it means in Ghana, and it may just be the same. Now, y'all listening to your president. We're going on with the praises. All right, United Nations is good. United Nations have done this. United Nations have done that. Let's continue this. Okay, I'm just listening. So let's go back. Come on. Oh, did it go? Lord have mercy. I didn't stop it. I wanted it to continue. John Muhammad. Okay, Liberian president need not coming back on. You two, where are you? Where's Liberian president? Are you guys serious? Okay, that's okay. We're gonna bring it back. It's YouTube. Literally, it's YouTube. It's just Liberian president. Like we're at the United Nations. All right, folks. At some point, I'm gonna play this completely. Okay, where are you? Why are you not coming on? Why the blocking the screen? Don't block it. I need to play that. Where is Liberian president? Why is it blocking? Bang. Okay, this is what I had. This is what I was playing. Okay, hopefully I can play it now. Hopefully it can come up and show. Okay, Liberia address the United Nations. All right, there we go.
The most critical multilateral platform for international cooperation and collective action. The UN continues to employ the best framework of humanity for peace, justice, security, dignity, and shared prosperity. Madam President, please accept the congratulations from the delegation to Liberia on your assumption of the esteemed office of President of the 80th session of the General Assembly. We trust in your leadership to guide the affairs of this august body. We also extend our commendation to your predecessor for his stewardship on the 79th session, and are grateful to the Secretary General for his leadership. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, please accept the gratitude of the Liberian government and the people after the country signed the charter in Herbst Theater Auditorium in San Francisco. Why the nameplate during this 2-year term will read Liberia, the seat, however, belongs.
So we are, and I want you to listen. United Nations is a precursor to the League of Nations. Okay, United Nations is a precursor to the League of Nations. Okay, now, the League of Nations is. Now, here we go. Did you all listen to Joe Mahama? You listen to William Ruto? I'm not even going to go to Kangabi because it's so radical. I'm just trying to see the contrast between them. These women came out, told us the history, bring our young people to bear, talk about the strength of the nation. They talk about a vision of what they think the United Nations should be, what role they need to play as they stand, how much things have changed, even in their own country, and where Africa stands in this moment in time. So you all listen, okay? That is just me. Where is our president? Is it here? Why is this thing doing this? The plate? What am I? And stuff is doing too much. Why is this thing carrying on like this? Okay, Liberia president, listen up.
To Africa. We are committed to ensuring that
here you go, so I'll call you after the show.
To the Security Council discussions and the decisions are shaped by hard-earned experiences in conflict resolution, as well as our successes in peace building, democratic reform, political transition, and governance. Additionally, the collective experience of the continent will be taken into consideration. Liberia looks forward to advocating for Africa's fair representation on the UN Security Council, which can only be achieved through permanent representation as a key part of the UN Security Council reform agenda. Excellencies, when the UN was founded in 1945, nations came together in the belief that peace could only be secured through cooperation. After 2 world wars, it became a widely held conviction that nations are stronger when united than when divided. 80 years later, that conviction is being tested like never before. From wars and displacement to terrorism, threats to technological advances, climate change, and widening inequalities, today our world faces challenges that no country can solve alone. At the same time, and paradoxically, when the world needs to strengthen multilateralism, its credibility and efficacy have been questioned. As one of the 4 African countries to sign the Charter of the United Nations, Liberia feels morally obligated to call for renewal rather than reversal of multilateralism. Reversal of multilateralism is not an option for a just and peaceful world. We call for greater inclusion, effectiveness, and respect for international law, recognizing that the credibility of the United Nations depends on our ability to act together in a...
Okay, folks, and I don't need to cut this off. I'm going to keep this going. We're asking for stronger international laws, but we do not abide by our own laws in our country. The law does not merely exist in our country, but it's something that I will talk to you in the morning when I'm going to. So let's continue to listen. Let's continue to listen.
Service of humanity, rather than a path in the pursuit of narrow interests. Madam President, wars in Europe, Middle East, and Africa remind us that peace is often fragile and must be constantly defended. Therefore, as in 1945, Liberia once again reaffirms its commitment to the dialogue, diplomacy, and the peaceful resolution of disputes. In this spirit, Liberia supports all credible mediation efforts aimed at resolving conflict between Russia and Ukraine, as well as Israel-Palestinian conflict. Liberia stands on a common African position for the realization of the two-state solution, where Israel and Palestinians can live side by side in peace and security in accordance with international law and the relevant UN resolutions. We call on the international community to act together decisively to protect civilians, hold perpetrators of atrocities accountable, and strengthen mediation efforts. Rising from the ruins of civil war, Liberia knows all too well that human cause of conflict and importance of peace. Since 2003, Liberia has experienced 3 peaceful and orderly democratic transitions, each marked by a smooth transfer of power, making our nation safer, more stable, and more secure after over 30 years of unrest, instability, and destruction. Liberians have also worked hard to achieve this through multilateral cooperation with support from ECOWAS, the African Union, and the United Nations. Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for Liberia, climate change is not a distant threat, but a present reality. Rising seas.
So let me explain to y'all. Wow. It is one thing to explain your story. Every day, Rwanda went to war. America went to war. And killed millions of people. America had something called the Dust Bowl. America went bankrupt. America rose up. America invested in its people, its human capital. China, under Mao Zedong, after the empire was broken, after the last empire, okay, and Mao took over, and Mao thought if the government owns everything, it would be more powerful than the people. And Mao did. First, he decided he would get rid of educators, intellectuals, artists. Chinese people enter in a dungeon, eating grasshopper. At some point, going beyond the human imagination, until Deng Xiaoping came and built the China today from isolationism, from communism, okay, to what you called a command market leading what? Market. We have not changed. And they decide they were going to pump money into education. Instead of them doing what Mao did, getting rid of educated people, not wanting for educated people to enlighten the people, they went contrary to that. And the China that you see today, it is a vision of one man, 4 pillars. And that's what you call the father of modern China. When you see Chinese people coming to your country, they use government money to empower their people. I come to say this, and I will end this somewhere else. I want to finish this. Hopefully, I can finish this video. I'll push it further because there's a lot of contradiction I want to talk about. Okay, here, hey sis, there are lots of contradiction I want to talk about. And the reason I'm talking about this is Liberian, especially the new government thing, they should own everything. It has not worked anywhere. It will not work now. Some of the Chinese people you see in the country, do they look like they're millionaires? Do they? Do they look like they're millionaires to you? Let's continue with this Joseph Boakai stuff, playing the same story, what they've been telling. Ellen told it, we are told it, Joseph Boakai telling it.
Wild storms and heavy rain devastated communities, threatened lives, and
now let me explain to you. Storm and heavy rain is not today. You are building in flood zone. You are selling land that is much, okay? That's supposed to suck the water when it rains and drain. God didn't put those things in there for you to build on it. You have no records. You don't keep record, or you intentionally derailed and do what you do. You are in charge, yet you're not in charge. You are in charge of the money. You are in charge of enjoying yourself. You are in charge of undercutting justice, but you are not in charge of putting the nation on path. You know why John Mahama, when he went to the last summit that they went to, why they got money? When they went to China? You just heard John Mahama. He told you what they put in place. He told us the changes that have been made. He told us how it is easy to set a business open a business in Ghana. Like before, where you have to have certain amount of millions before you open business. They are open to small businesses. People can come in and invest. How they have changed. When he took over, they had 23% inflation. They have brought that down over 10%. Okay? Now, and we are just talking the same thing. Let's continue. Lord have mercy. Liberia.
For climate justice. Those who contribute the least to these crises should not be forced to suffer the most. Madam President, Excellencies, too many development nations spend more on debt servicing than on health or education. The current international financial architecture.
I want Liberian people, you all please listen to the old man. Okay? This old man, for 45 years, over 45 years, he started in government since the early 70s, during turbo time. He has went to every sector of the place. I want you to listen to him. He's going to complain about interest rate. Those of you who live in America who understand price gouging, who understand predatory lending, who understand that your interest rate is based on your credit score, is based on your ability to pay back, is based on, okay, it's based on, again, your ability to pay back. Mind you, Liberian people, y'all listen. For 133 years plus another 14 years, we accumulated over $4 billion in debt. Those debts were waived. By the time early 12 years were over, we were almost at $1 billion. By the time we had 6 years were over, we were, I think, over $2 billion. You live, you know, the other day I saw an apartment, 1-bedroom apartment in Liberia for $1,800. Mind you, the minimum wage in Liberia is $140 a month. Let's divide that amount for 30 days. Okay, let's just divide for 360 days. Y'all give me 1 second. I mean a month times 12. So it's $140 times 12. That's $1,600 a year. If you divide that to 300 into 366 divided by 366, okay? They make $4.49 a day, okay? But they're charging for a 1-bedroom apartment $1,800, $3,000 for 2 bedrooms. You are paying your government official, your lawmaker, some of them close to $500,000, most of them after $1 million. Because when they now get all the cycle for them to sign contract, all the different committees that they own, you add those. When you turn around, you think about the constituent visit, another $100,000 every 3 months. Then the next one is the scholarship to raise their own army. Because whoever give you that scholarship, that who you're loyal to, we're seeing that in Rwanda, where you could not touch Nyomli the moment you call her name. The children there that own her scholarship, they will attack the other children. We have one of Nyomli kids, gash our kids. We're not in government. We're just helping children that we still need help, that have potential, they're smart to help. Almost kill him, almost took out a whole V. But that's a story I've told before, and it's a story for another day. You are listening to our president. The whole story
is unresponsive to this reality, making it not only outdated, but also unjust and defiant of the objectives of shared prosperity and development, the pursuit of which the United Nations was created. Liberia, therefore, joins the Global South in calling for urgent reform to the international financial architecture to ensure fair representation, a new approach to debt servicing, and financing that supports sustainable development. Shared prosperity requires a system that truly leaves no nation behind. Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at home, inclusive development remains our top priority. To this end, our government has launched the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, which focuses on agriculture and food security, roads and infrastructure, rule of law and good governance, education and skill development, sanitation and health, tourism, technology, and innovation. The Arrest Agenda aligns with our National Vision 2030, which aims to transform Liberia into a lower middle income country and lay the foundation for a capable state by 2030. Through this agenda, we are committed to improving the livelihoods, reducing inequality, and ensuring that every Liberian benefits from the dividends of peace and development. We are taking tangible steps to improve governance by implementing accountability and anti-terrorism corruption measures, such as asset declaration. We are strengthening institutional capacity to promote integrity, transparency, and improve public service delivery. Liberia has endured some of the darkest chapters of human suffering.
Let me say this. Somebody is under my post, and I'm not even gonna go for that. I teach economic introduction. I teach the war economic to my kids as an educator. So I know how much debt America owes. I know how the trade is done, and I know the balance of trade of America and in China and the different things that they trade, including Saudi Arabia and all of the other trade partners. Okay, America is a $1 trillion industry. America is the modern dynasty. China is taking it over. Okay, America debt is owned in America name. America does not have destitutes. If America takes away the funds that she gives to other nations, she can take care of her people. The billions of dollars that she gives away to other nations like Liberia, okay, for poor people, like taking care of the United Nations. Why you come and telling me, oh, America owe China? Facts. That's what business is. You owed. You don't have anything to give. You cannot pay your worker in the country that the minimum wage per month is $140, but you're paying people in the millions, in the tens of hundreds of thousands. I live in a $40 billion state with $40 billion budget. My governor don't make $200,000. No, he does now. 145, 150. My lawmakers, my local lawmaker that they call the assembly members, they make less than $50,000 a year. We are not allowed to go above our budget. The federal government can, but the state government does not. And besides, we encourage entrepreneurship. We don't sit on people. America gave incentives for people to open businesses. In fact, they give people money if you have an idea to open businesses. They don't strangulate you. I started the conversation with you. The thing for you to even be brave and say America owes China. It's a great news. Because just yesterday under Mao Zedong, Chinese could not eat. They didn't have food. They thought hard and strong and changed the nation. They didn't make excuses. Instead of the government confiscating and suffocating the people from thinking and say they wanted to hold it with iron cloud, they decided, that government or Deng Xiaoping decided, we will give money to our people. We are overly populated. We will look for raw material. We'll scatter our people around. We'll invest in idea and business. You think when Elon Musk was living in a one room with a bunch of people, you think he had money? When he came up with the idea, the group of them, PayPal, the different group that they funded, the government saw the need that it could create jobs like a trickle-down effect and invested in them. They didn't strangulate them. So I'm going somewhere. Let me finish this video because I know the butt kisser, the sycophants, okay, who this is our government. The very thing that they were against yesterday when we were doing, today they're encouraging it. They will come to write me some shady stuff. The good thing is, and I started this conversation this way, majority, in fact, all the monarchs in the world, the rich people, no matter what subject the children study, they make sure they learn history and economics. I said they don't want to, all right? The lifeblood of a nation. The history is our foundation. It tells us and projects us where the future will hold. Let me continue. So I'm not here to pay attention to direct nonsense where you come on my post to can't talk.
Experienced one of the most brutal conflicts in recent history. Over the past 2 decades, we have remained firmly on the path of recovery, working to heal our nation and rebuild from the painful legacy of war. My government has taken deliberate, meaningful steps toward national reconciliation. These include honoring the memory of the victims, supporting initiatives for memorialization, and upholding the commitment to justice and the rule of law.
So let me say to all of you, this is a lie, okay? This is a lie from the pit of hell, and you'll know the rest of the story. I'm not even going to go into it with Joseph Boakai. You can come on my post and say, according to if this is the route, okay, when he pledged that he were going to uphold the TRC report. The TRC report is right here on my table. I read the whole freaking stuff. Okay, this is it. The memorial would have been the last recommendation. The first recommendation was bringing those who bear the greatest responsibility to bear. However, they were going to take that. Acknowledge the living. A reparation for the living, those of us who survived for our pain and suffering. The people that were recommended to be reburied were Kuwankpa, the 13 men that were killed, and a few other men. But they were going to be the last thing to bring closure and respect to the nation. That is upside down. Okay? The Kofi Woods, all of these people, they read this stuff, they were part of it. And they're right there with him. Papa Boakai read it, I'm sure he did. So when y'all come on, because of your government, yesterday, we have people did the same. And he said he working diligently for peace and prosperity. That is not a true statement. Number one, we're being disrespected. They gather there and their friends and their big shots to what they call it, Ellen Johnson Sally place and say they're acknowledging the victim. We are the victim. Okay? We are the survivor. We are the one who saw the war in real time. We're the one who were molested. We are the one who were naked. We were the one who gun were put in our mouths or on our body. We were the one. We were the children at that time. We were the one who washed the dead body across the Dude River. Okay, we were the one who saw the new bridge fully covered in blood. We were the one who saw children being snatched, neighbor carried behind the house to be murdered, all right before us. We were the one. How in the hell you will tell me you have done to reconcile? Then you'll come on people's posts and can't talk. Don't come on my post with nonsense. I'm speaking of stuff that bothers me, things that I witnessed. Don't come on my post with nonsense. Go right there on your page, please. We just saw a man who took advantage of a 14-year-old, escaped the country. Remember, when this man, Joseph Boakai, lied on Alexander Cummings and said the document where he paid for to be made, he fingered it. And then he got on the stand again and said he didn't remember. Remember, he could not leave the country. But a man who took advantage of a 14-year-old, a man in the position of power appointed by him, He was coming to the UN, so he said, I suspend you with immediate effect. When there are almost 2,700 rape cases on the docket and nothing is happening, those children cannot talk. Is that justice? How we rebuilding? We're destroying our young people, our young girls and boys in our country. I saw a little boy the other day laying down, the people recording on a grown man bed that he solicited on social media. Child confused that he will regret for the rest of their life. That area. So let me. I'm gonna finish this. It's not much, and then because it will stay in my YouTube forever, because I want it to stay there, and then we'll deal with it. History will remember all of us. Those of you who are speaking now, history will remember us. But go ahead.
While we recognize that these efforts are complex and challenging, they are essential steps towards achieving lasting peace and genuine national healing. May I now take the opportunity to renew my government's request for the international support and assistance in establishing a war and economic crimes court, which will further the Liberian people's aspiration for national healing and reconciliation through justice. Madam President, for the United Nations to remain relevant and practical, it must adapt. Liberia therefore supports the Pact for the Future and Global Digital Compact. We also call on the UN that more responsive and reflective of today's world, using outdated 1945 solutions to tackle 2025 challenges is neither reasonable nor realistic. Regarding sustainable development goals, we agree that our collective progress is too slow. However, reaching the SDGs targets remains a vital effort as ever. We therefore urge that the timely achievement of the SDGs be treated as a global emergency. Consequently, Liberia will submit its next voluntary national review in 2026, committing to accelerate the implementation of the global goals in line with the African Union's Agenda 2063 and ECOWAS Vision 2050. Finally, Excellencies, the theme of this session, Better Together, aptly captures both the spirit and the urgency of our time. The challenges before us are immense, so too must be the collective capacity.
So I'm gonna stop it right there. That is the difference. We just saw Omen Boaka talking. The same story yesterday about United Nations. They do like, I remember when we were coming to the 2019 stuff. First he was sick, he was going for 6 months. Then the next thing he came to the United Nations. He's going to do the War and Economic Crimes Court. When he left, he went to Liberia. He said, you want development or you want War and Economic Crimes Court? This is what this reminds me of. They all play games, okay? That's why education is not a priority. He talked about people spending money on and not spending money on education. Listen, it is not United Nations that's going to educate your people. China was intentional. Rwanda have been intentional, okay? Switzerland have been intentional. Ghana is intentional. Burkina Faso is intentional. So, a nation that have been independent for 179 years cannot still be begging. What is your priority? How do you spend 87% of your budget on recurring expenditure and borrow money to pay for salary, and you say the interest rate is high? How is that? You cannot afford it. That's what they call balance the budget. If you live in a home, okay, you cannot make $2,000 a month and go live a $1 million neighborhood. It will never work. You will borrow until you can't borrow anymore, and you will complain that your neighbor don't like you or the bank don't want to give you money. If the bank give you money, they know you may not be able to pay it back. Those are just common sense, fact of life. That's why they didn't get your money when y'all went to China. That's why they didn't get your money when I went to Japan. That's why they didn't give your money when y'all went to Korea. That's why they didn't give your money when y'all came here, and how you call it? That's why. You are high risk. If people feel sorry for you and give you money, you may not be able to pay. Number one, you have no concrete plan. You have changed the plan over and over and over and over. You got an $8 billion goal, but you are saying as a country, you will contribute 10%, but you anticipate. What kind of welfare mentality is that? Welfare in America, you know, those of you who don't live in America, that people who live on government just show their hand. They don't want to work. They don't want to do anything. They find any excuse. So the monthly, they get them full stamp to buy food, and it's limited as to what they can buy. And then they pay for their rent. Maybe their rent is $50 a month in the apartment where other people are paying $2,000, but they scatter them around. That's a welfare mentality. You are not intentional. And those people, until they decided to take matter into their own hand, they never develop. They in that circle over and over. This is the mindset of the Liberian people, the Liberian leadership. This is the 40-some more year plan, or 40-some more years experience that we're experiencing. Now, let me come back to Pape Boaka's story of following the rule of law. Okay, I will give this to Wia. If the elections that we just had, if it had been, okay, if it had been the Unity Party, they were never going to allow anybody else to take onto power. They were going to stay in power. I can tell you for free the way they're carrying on. So let me come here very quickly. I'm going to show this picture right here. I think I'm going to pull the stuff is stuff from this is the Liberian government. Liberian government gave out a tax break to foreign company to come to Liberia. But Liberian government harass citizens who are doing business, they say, in the name of tax. You can owe taxes. I live in America. Most businesses in America don't pay taxes. Individual pay taxes. Multi-billion-dollar company don't pay taxes. Individual employees pay taxes. They went to shut down his business. In a country with almost 90% unemployment. You know what when I got today? Some people put, now he can go run competition with the president about car. People here, Joris Vola, he said that's good step by the Liberian Petroleum Refining Company, LPRC, managing director, to shut down a business. In the word over, there will be court proceeding and court proceeding. The law, all of a sudden, the law is the law. Bravo, says Abraham Foko, F-O-K-O-E. Okay? Bravo to the MD for the bold step. Let Belete go to Nima Kante and build for himself storage term. Oh my God. Only in Nima people like Musa Belete can become lawmaker. Let me tell you something. What Musa Belete had done in Nimba and other states, other counties, none of your lawmakers had done it before with their own money. And I see how jealous you people are. And that's why Liberia is in the doldrum it's in. Okay? I see many, thank you. Guys, y'all look at it. Look at these people. Look at these people. This is the mindset of Liberians that will murder so many people 250,000. I remember those who wanted us dead. They were our neighbors. Some were people who my mother used to pay their children's school fee. Children who would come to our house to watch TV over the weekend, to watch movie. I know that. You see this? You see all this? These are the mindset, okay? These are the mindset of the Liberian people. Belete think now his papa owned this country. Belete opened a business that hire hundreds of Liberians, that support thousands of Liberians in schools, in community, in hospital bill, hiring people. So look at y'all look at that. Y'all look at Liberian. This is your mindset. This is what killing the country. Okay. This one, Kevin Brown said, ability will eat sand. Okay. Wow. We will know your strength. This is it. Okay. When we are talking about gas importer, why only ability always crying? Because ability knows it's right. Because everybody agree does not necessarily mean those who agree are right. Okay. He stands up for the thing he's believing. Let ability go to jail. You see how stupid you people are? You have eaten your sins. Now you become your chosen, eating your conscience, your ethics to be who you are. Look at this. Moses Gono. I am totally confused. Is this the kind of man who been talking about integrity, rule of law, the worst of all sitting lawmaker? What kind of law that is this man with? Liberian people, in the world over, government, the Chinese people that in your country, government give them money to come and open business. In America, government gave you money, gave you tax break for you to open business and hire people. Now I see why the country is broke. I see why we are poor. I see why we'll continue to be poor. This is the kind of poor mindset. Here it is right here. This, I'm recording this. I have no copyright to this. This is from Front Page Africa, but I'm just looking at the different, and I'm pulling the different, your name is right here, the different comments. Okay, Belete think he continued to steal him. He's not stealing, he's selling. You know, when Mr. Cummings has said to us many times, when Liberian people ask, what company you got? He said, yeah, I know you guys are asking in good faith, but I can't tell my business because government will come after it. I've opened schools. I opened the first STEM school is in Liberia. I opened a trade school is in Brewerville, and the STEM school is on Dupo Road. I gave scholarship, hundreds of thousands of that scholarship to all of the university every year. That is enough, but I cannot expose my business. They will come after me because I have people. Now, you see how many people under this post? You see your Liberian people? Baka became president 2 years ago. Stop the nonsense. Stop making excuses. All of y'all were with us. We had just became president in 2018. You were not even 10 months into government when we were protesting against him in New York. So you stop the hypocrisy. Just stop. Now, James Yirinyo said government should not even allow any tension. Keep to your decision and take drastic action against. This one right here will make the human rights report. You're shutting down Liberian businesses, but you say you're welcoming businesses. Ain't no business coming to your country when you can just get up and shut down business when one of your ministers get ready with no law. When your lawmaker who are pro-government decide nobody else should have a business in the country because they're jealous. This is it. I come from a world where competition breeds talents, where when they find talents, they pour money into it. Okay? They start in your hand. You think the people who brought the idea, they were able to pay to develop it, the government came in. The Zuckerberg, where do you think he got money from? The Macadell, the Bezos, the Gates. Even the Canva that you're using, the Microsoft that you're using. What's wrong with y'all? How very limited and blind we are. You're going after this man and say, now he can go back where President Ra. Did you know Obama was richer than Joe Biden? Did you know that? Did you know that Donald Trump was richer than the both of them? Do you know that where his name Elon Musk is richer than Donald Trump? These are men who created something. Bouakai has created nothing. He has lived off of government. Famata, Legeman, Legemam. Belete must move forward, pay your bill. Everyone have to pay their bill, sir. If Bouakai was serious and understand business process and business nature that developed nation, at this point, you would say, you know what? Belete, the tax have gone on too long. We will take half because the government needs the money, okay? Or we will give you a tax waiver. We want you to hire more people, especially when you have 90% unemployment. You know what government do around the world? You think no Chinese people coming, and I keep repeating myself. Ask them who money they bring in to invest. When people open small businesses in America, who money they're using to invest? When you have they bring corporate organization and say withhold taxes, the employee will pay taxes. The company will not pay taxes because it gives the incentive to hire more people. What's wrong with y'all? Look at the amount of people. Y'all look at here. Ellen Peters, with all this happening in the country, how will they see the MCC gave the Liberian government money? They wouldn't. I hope they don't. I'm sorry. And I'm just being honest. Okay? You're causing all of this trouble. We are people went to meet. They knew y'all were going to be having a drama. Y'all sent police people to beat them up. All right? Here it is. Here they are. I didn't mean to stay long today. Amos Guel, all those who are supporting illegal economic behavior, what does LRA do to business owners who have shop or stores that do not renew their businesses? This is not what it's about. This is about paying on taxes that came later, after Liberia did not have the money or the capacity to supply their own people, and people found investors and invested in tanker and invested their money as individuals to create jobs, to create stability, to bring in product that Liberia needed at the time that they need. This is what you're doing. You're taking advantage of your people, but you give foreign a tax break. And I'm going to go here. I have one more stuff to show you, and I will call it a day. There we go. I'm going to stop here. Now here is the next one right here about these people, where they've been dragging. Okay. I need to send a message to Nyantuanyen. Nyantuanyen, yesterday I gave you praises. But I've been looking on the internet and something that was published today. And I need to talk to you quickly, Nyantuanyen. Nyantuanyen, Kwaumi Apel Gono. This message is from your big sister, and I'm the one who's talking to you. I am praying that now you're speaking on behalf of the Liberian people, for the Nibadians. That's what I'm praying. And I pray and hope that what you people are doing, you're not flaunting for SPS. I just found out that SPS, I read a Daily Observer today, have sold 57 million of their common share to Qatar, to the Emir of Qatar, the Crown Prince of Qatar. We told you before, SPS were fronting. They will come, they will collect, and they will resell, just as you did it with the Nigerian and the people who came doing the oil time, the oil black, and you saw it out, they got rich. Most of your leaders didn't got a share in it. The people are operating on that. So, Nyantuanyen, this message is for you. I just want you to know, okay? The word is connected. We're living in a technological village we're living in a small global village, that everything is happening in real time and everything is right here. I pray for you that you stay strong. I pray for you that you're truly speaking for the Liberian people, the Nimba people, for the mountains. Me and Dr. Richardson were in that mountains. No electricity. The water is red. The people in ArcelorMittal are living in tanks. In continue. I know that. I also know that and I wanted to speak today very quickly. Steve Koya, Liberian people, let me just delete this. Well, I don't care much about him because I know him. I work with him in Joseph Boakai. And I'm just going to be, I think, and I heard people talk about Mamaka ability and this, that. That man have worked with Boakai. He was Boakai chief of staff for years. He used to work for ArcelorMittal. He and Boakai Jaliba used to work for ArcelorMittal. But he had the more experience. And then when I hear people say Mamaka ability was the one I was there trying to just sell us some buses and sell us 250 machine for $80 million that ended up being $20 million. What's with y'all? I don't care about people try. I don't care about people relation. But when we put that as a flaunt, okay, everything we say we flaunt it, okay, it becomes a problem. For me, I will speak my mind. I don't give a fig for what anybody thinks. It is not a religious thing. It is not a Mandingo thing. It's not a Gio thing. It's not a Lofa thing. Although I know for a fact that Steve Koya is also related to Joseph Boakai, but he has been with Boakai like forever. At least the last I can remember, 2014, 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, he was with Boakai. I met him many times. And he was the chief of staff. So to just come and say, move in and put Mamaka ability there, because what? 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 And then we make it either a Mandingo or a religious thing. What all know Boakai is prejudice. We know he's tribalistic. But on this one, I will not agree. And I still will not have taken Mamaka ability, especially with everything that she has done. Even if Boakai is behind it, she put her credibility on the line. Let me go to my last, and then I will call her. I stayed longer than I anticipated. I didn't mean to. Viewer discretion is advised, and I will speak to this again before I go. I'm going to have you all listen to this. These are the people that they collected for me falsely and jailed them and they're witch hunting them. I'm saying it because you know what? To commit a crime, you should have motive, you should have the opportunity, and you should have the means. And here is why I'm going to say that when I'm finished with this. So let's play this for this guy. I won't die. You can't follow me. You have now 2 o'clock. You know what happened? I won't die. I won't die. You can't follow me. You have now 2 o'clock. You know what happened? I'm sure all of you are seeing these young people who are talking. Okay, I'm sure you people are seeing the Liberian people. I know we're numb. So long as our family, it does not matter to us. And that's the way Liberians are. Okay. I hear we are people yelling. We are the best. We are coming back. The very people who made we are look bad yesterday. The very people people were being killed, raped. Children were being found in buildings, tied up, and they were lying. The police people who were watching people being abused and walking, laughing and stopping and paying attention. The very police people that were carrying guns and beating people to make we all look bad. I see them on Waka Vesta doing the same thing. And the very people yesterday who were with we are giving command in the middle of the night to take people's lives, to cover up their crime. Today they're saying we're coming back to power. I see the young man over there where he named Chessing, who used to go on campus to pick up people low on our age children to go molest them, yelling, he on spoon now. And then I say we are coming back. Those are the faces we are coming back with. I said this on this platform over and over and over. We are the Liberian people love you. Even during the election, you can tell that Liberian people love we are, but they were so afraid of him. They were afraid of his leadership. You can love somebody and don't have to have them. All of us have had that experience. You can love people and you don't have to have them in charge of your life. We are told us he's a celebrity. He's a soccer star. That's who we are is. And I pray that he does not allow anyone to take away his dignity. The first time, he left with grace. The second time, it will not be. Now, let me come back to those people where they say burn a Capitol building. And I will repeat myself. To commit a crime, you have to have motive, means, and opportunity. The day before, the people protested over that they were beaten, jail, and the police took over that building. And police, security are always there. Where were the security? Where were the police? The Capitol. Where's the Capitol Police? How did these people get in there? The other guy, they went all the way to Ghana and brought him and put in a hotel. And he told them, well, now they're beating them, they're torturing them. The other boss say they funded him, they SA him. And I believe it. Because there were extensive investigation done under the last UP government. They used to put people, children, boys, young boys in jail and molest them. It's documented. Under this post, I will put a video, and I have a copy of it, even if they take it down, where they looked at the Emmanuel Dolo. Okay, we're talking about the case that he visited. Okay, when he was the what do you call it, the advisor to the president, youth advisor to the president, where those people were doing the trauma that those children experienced, and they were coming from jail, and they were doing the same thing to people because they themselves were traumatized. They themselves were traumatized, and that's what we're talking about. Here it says, okay, so I know that for a fact, and he would not lie. He was a professional man with credibility, a renowned scholar, PhD, the first African-American, okay, not African, a French Liberian, director of school education at the Eastern District in Minnesota. So yes, we know what you're doing, Liberia. That's why during the UP-led government, they changed across the street to Susanna. To get young boys job, you have to go compromise yourself. To give you put your name on the list for you to go to leave the country. You got to pay with your pride, both for women and men. Yes. You want race? Yes. Robert Salih had his group. George Warner had his group. For education had his group. The whole Social Security that was so then. I'm saying it, and I make no apologies. You'll check yourself. Now, I'm going to go. Papi Boaka, balance the budget, and you can live beyond your means. And Papi Boaka, myself as a victim, I'm going to finish my book, and I'm going to be as a survivor, and I'm going to be writing the United Nations Human Rights Commission. I will do that as a survivor. That's not what this book says. This is the TRC report. That's not what it says. When you're done, it's not what it said. I'll talk to you later. You have a good day, everyone. God bless us all. Good night. But I'm going to go ahead and end this with John Mahama.
Redefine its profile and reshape its structures. The General Assembly to challenge a veto. No single nation should be able to exercise an absolute veto to serve its own interests in a dispute. In 1995, during the 50th anniversary of the United Nations, Nelson Mandela stood in this very spot, and he said, the United Nations has to reassess its role, redefine its profile, and reshape its structures. It should truly reflect the diversity of our universe and ensure equity among the nations in the exercise of power within the system of international relations in general, and the Security Council in particular. I close quotations. 30 years later, we African leaders are still making the same simple request for a permanent seat on the Security Council with the power of a veto. So today, Madam President, I stand here in this exact spot and ask the world, if not now, then when? We demand not only a reform of the Security Council, but also a reset of the global financial architecture, which is currently rigged against Africa. Africa must have a greater say in the world's multilateral financial institutions. And while I'm making requests, I'd like to call for the removal of the blockade on Cuba. As Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, our nation's founder, famously said, we seek to be friends with all and enemies to none. The Cuban people shed their blood on African soil in the fight against apartheid. And indeed, Cuba has been and continues to be a faithful friend of Africa. You see, the very fact that I can stand here and ask these things and say these things, and the fact that all nations can ostensibly gather here to address critical global issues, air our grievances, and express our concerns, that is what makes the survival of this organization so important. In every old city or village, you'll find a town square, or a courtyard, or a plaza that once served as a gathering space for the citizens of the community and their leaders. Meetings and celebrations were held there, as were trials and elections. And these were spaces that brought people together and held them together as a community. Sadly, time and technology have eroded these spaces. Madam President, in many ways, the United Nations is the proverbial town square of our modern global village. And it has never been more critical for us to protect this one space that brings and holds the world nations together as a community. The internet, social media platforms, and artificial intelligence offer us the illusion of connectivity, when in fact, what they do is reinforce isolation by using algorithms that ensure that we do not receive new ideas and perspectives, but rather more of the same content. We are served alternative facts and manipulated images, making it easy to disseminate disinformation and sow seeds of division amongst communities. Madam President, these are dangerous times. Our world is currently experiencing a rise in nationalism and economic instability. There's a general breakdown of multilateralism. Various acts of aggression have been committed against the sovereignty of others, and nations are attempting to circumvent the very safeguards that were put in place to prevent large-scale global conflict. These conditions are all too similar to the ones that led to the League of Nations' failure in fulfilling its mandate. The denial of visas to President Abbas and the Palestinian delegation sets a bad precedent and should